This is the Vanderbilt Cup, the ultimate prize for every driver in the Champ Car World Series. This season, Sebastian Bourdais has more victories than anyone else as he bids for his first Champ Car title. His biggest challenger, though, is his teammate Bruno Junqueira. They tangled at Elkhart and again at Denver. But it was Bourdais' incident with A.J. Allmendinger in Montreal 2 weeks ago that led Junqueira through to score his first win and move within striking distance of the title. They're on the same team. They have the same dream. When the green flag falls, it's every man for himself. Round 11, the Bridgestone Grand Prix of Monterey is next. Bridgestone presents the Champ Car World Series powered by Ford. Today, the Bridgestone Grand Prix of Monterey. A beautiful day for racing on the Monterey Peninsula of California. The cars have fired for the 11th race of the 2004 championship season. And welcome to Laguna Seca, Mazda Raceway, Laguna Seca. Hello again, everyone. I'm Rick Benjamin. Four-time Trans Am champ Tommy Kendall will join me in just a moment. The home stretch of the 2004 season has arrived. Only a handful of opportunities left for Champ Car drivers to wrestle the championship away from Sebastian Bourdais. Bourdais, the leader by 35. He's won 5 of the first 10 races this season, but his teammate Bruno Junqueira hoping to get into the hunt today with a good run. Junqueira comes off his first win of the year 2 weeks ago at Montreal. And I'm joined by Tommy Kendall, a race winner here yesterday in the Trans Am season finale. Congratulations. Big key here this weekend, the alternate Bridgestone tires.
Well, and for a couple of reasons. They're softer, they're stickier, they're faster. Up and down pit lane, they're calling them reds because those red-marked sidewalls. But the big deal is they've tried to make them quicker than the primary. Some tracks, they've only been a little bit quicker, not enough to make a huge difference in terms of overtaking. Here, they could be as much as 3/4 of a second quicker. Add that to the fact that the other side of that is they're not sure they're going to be consistent and not fall off at the end of a run. So they might be quicker early on. Those are two factors. The teams that employ that the best will come out the best today.
And they get 2 sets of them for the race instead of 3, which we have seen earlier this year. Now let's take a look at this racetrack. Nearly 2¼ miles, 11 turns at Laguna.
And it's really a tough track to get a hold of. It's a slippery, especially that infield 2, 3, 4, and 5. You go through turn 6, a climbing left-hander up to the famed corkscrew at turn 8 and 8A. Then you dive down through 9 and 10 into the final corner. As you can see, there's no chance to rest.
Well, the corkscrew is key here. Last year's winner, Patrick Carpentier, shows us the legendary corner.
Hi, this is Patrick Carpentier with Foresight Index Racing. So here you're coming up to a famous corner on this racetrack. It's called the corkscrew. And it's one of the most interesting corners to all the racetrack we go to, because when we approach the corner, as you can see, we're squat down a little bit more for us. You see absolutely nothing but the sky. It's very fast and it's fairly late braking, but when you hit the brakes going uphill, the car gets very light. And you see the markers 3 and 2. We always brake in between those two. The speed we're coming at, this is a second gear corner, so it's a fairly slow corner. Then we hit the brake really hard and then kind of go a little bit easy when the car is up light, and when we land is when we really apply a lot of pressure again. Then after that is very sharp left-hander right here that starts to go downhill, but this is where it gets tricky because we see absolutely nothing inside the car. Once you get to this point here, we'll squat down a little bit. You see absolutely nothing, because what you see now, for us, there's a dashboard that comes in front of that. You don't really see where the track is going. So then you come and then you gotta move into here fairly quickly, and you can't really accelerate yet because the road is angled like that. Once you're out of there, if you make it correctly, you get the angle right, then you start accelerating, and what a rush it is to go downhill like that.
All right, thank you, Patrick Carpentier. Now our starting grid powered by Ford. Bourdais' 7th pole of the season.
And Carpentier, if he beats Sebastian Bourdais to turn 1, he could go flag to flag like last year.
Second row here today, all Tracy with A.J. Allmendinger.
Tracy trying to make some moves, but I've really got my eye on Allmendinger. I think he left some on the table in qualifying and wants to do well in his hometown race.
Jourdain qualifies 5th.
His only top 5 start of the year, and he had a tremendous run here from the back of the pack last year. Bruno Junqueira, after the win 2 weeks ago in Montreal, wanted to capitalize, going the wrong way. Bourdais back on top. Bruno with one of his worst starts of the year. Jimmy Vasser grew up in Northern California. Both of his team owners also from this area, anxious for a good run in the PKV car. Rodolfo Levine, who faded to the back of the grid for the last several weeks, starting to show some of the form that got everyone's attention early in the year. And Guy Smith, still towards the back of the pack, but by far his best start of the year in 14. In row 8, Justin Wilson, the story of a guy going the other way. We've seen some phenomenal qualifying runs from him this year, but they have not come to grips at all with Laguna Seca. And on row 9, we've got Gaston Mazzacane, our normal row 9 guy, and next to him, Roberto Gonzalez, who had a big crash right before the final qualifying session, was not able to take part.
Your 18 car starting grid here today, powered by Ford. Check the race facts for the Champ Car Grand Prix of Monterey, the Bridgestone Grand Prix of Monterey. 80 laps, just under 180 miles, or the time limit could come into play here this afternoon. Carpentier led all the way in 2003. One mandatory stop. That has been the trend the last many weeks in Champ Car. It's worked great. The pit window today, 53 to 63. The leader has to pass the blend-in line to pit road to begin his 53rd lap. Push to pass, as we mentioned, the time has been increased. 50 extra horsepower on tap for 75 seconds for each driver. And the alternate Bridgestones, Reds, the teams are calling them. You have rust run at least one stint on them. Each team has 2. Some teams burned up a set in practice and qualifying Friday and Saturday. They could be at a big disadvantage here today. 3 different onboard looks for you here this afternoon. At the back of the pack, the MyJack 34 car. England's Justin Wilson will have a visor cam on Wilson's machine today. He lines up alongside his teammate Nelson Philippe. Wilson from 15th spot. Montreal winner Bruno Junqueira second in the championship in the Pacific Air number 6 for the Newman Haas team. We will ride with Bruno Junqueira as he comes from the 4th row today. Also, we'll be riding with young A.J. Allmendinger. Allmendinger qualifying 4th. Tommy Kendall said he thought A.J. left something on the table in qualifying. Allmendinger's won here before, another open wheel series, and we will see how he is able to navigate this racetrack today. Quickly, Dion Beekes.
Well, we're seeing strategy unfold already. Sebastian Bourdais has dropped way behind the pace car. The reason? He's already saving fuel. Many of the teams say today to make it in 2 stops, you have to save fuel and you need help. You're going to need some yellow. Some teams say 3 laps, some say 10, but the strategy already starting. Derek?
You're looking at the brain thrust that runs the Roux Sports car for A.J. Allmendinger, Carl Russo and Jeremy Dale. Now, 2 weeks ago in Montreal, A.J. had quite an eventful race. Started on the front row, was hit at the second corner by Paul Tracy, got a puncture, dropped all the way back to last. Then cycled his way back because of pit stops to lead the race. Then later on, he crashed with Sebastian Bourdais. Then he was given a penalty, so he was dropped back again. Then he came back up and he finished 5th. He got a 1-lap penalty because he was adjudged to have stopped at the wrong lap with Champ Car's pit windows. So we were told he finished 11th. In fact, he finished 5th because they said that the penalty should not have been applied. So maybe he didn't appear. So if AJ has an uneventful day today, he won't know what to do with himself.
Ready to go racing. Glad to have you with us, and we are underway at Laguna Seca, Mazda Raceway, Laguna Seca. 80 laps to go. The Bridgestone Grand Prix. Bourdais alongside gets to turn 1 first. Allmendinger on the move, trying to get toward the front. Everybody clean here. Side-by-side racing in turn 3.
There you saw Tracy trying to make a move, got by his teammate and was trying to make a bid on the outside of Bourdais. That was an atrocious looking start.
They were single file to the last corner
that were formed up.
A.J. Allmendinger starting in 4th spot, trying to stay in contact with the top 3. Bourdais bolting to the lead. 1 car off. Mario Haberfeld spins. That's Darren Walker's Cummins Radar pointed in the right direction, headed toward the Bosch Bridge. Cold tires, and it's slick here at times.
It is very slick, and it also you have a situation where you get dirt drug across, especially those very flat news sections. There's dirt on both sides of the track, and just the pack of cars going by, the vortex behind it can suck dirt off from the off the track onto the racing surface. And Allmendinger, even though it wasn't a great start, the front 3 guys had already taken off.
Oh, trouble back deeper in the pack.
Now
One of the MyJack cars, Justin Wilson, in trouble. He gets it pointed in the right direction. Rodolfo Levine, looks like they both have been off. There's debris on the racetrack. Wilson having trouble getting that car up to speed.
Well, the wheels are pointing in different directions.
Little slow motion look at it for you. Oriol Servia down through the corkscrew. Let's take a look back, and contact right there. Levine got into Wilson. Guy Smith scrambling with Nelson Philippe to stay out of the way. Another look from further down the hill.
Well, and Wilson even knew he was there and knew he was in trouble and tried to leave him room and turned as late as he possibly could, but Levine just couldn't get it stopped and drilled him in the left rear.
Gaston Mazzacane going through the dirt. Here's Wilson onto pit road. The MyJack crew will Be busy here shortly trying to fix the 34 car and allow Wilson to get back out. Heavy damage to the left front corner of the suspension. He can barely turn the car. Jan Beekes, he's headed your way.
And of course, you can't do much limping in, and as he comes very close to our position, I will have to say that they are quickly going to give him the international sign with the hand under the throat that this thing is done. In fact, that's what they get right away. Big damage for Justin Wilson. Tough break after a very difficult weekend. Derek?
Have a look at this right rear from Alex Tagliani. Just look at the rim. I mean, that is not a light contact. They believe it was contact from Michel Jourdain, and this used to be the red paint on these new softer Bridgestones, but this tire is not going to go any further.
And Sebastian Bourdais in quickly. He was the race leader, Tom. What's going on? We're on lap 2. Bourdais already in.
No idea.
As he rolled by, he had a flat left rear tire. Don't know how that happened, but he crawled down pit road. Amazing how many tires in such a short period of time.
All right, so let's reset the situation. Bourdais was on the pole, took the lead off the drop of the green. Trouble on the backside in the corkscrew for Justin Wilson. Debris on the track. Did Bourdais hit the debris, perhaps?
That's quite possible. It's hard to say. I mean, Tracy was putting some pressure on him. Don't really know what happened.
So Bourdais back on the racetrack. Tracy is the leader according to timing and scoring. Carpentier has settled into second spot. Looks as though Bourdais may have a little bit of damage on the front nose wing there, but hard to tell exactly. He's on alternates. He's on the Bridgestone Reds as we watch Oriol Servia chasing one of the Urdez cars. Jimmy Vasser there as well off turn 11. That looks like Dominguez.
Now this changes Bourdais' race in more ways than one. Not only does he have to deal with making an extra stop, if he gets a yellow and that goes away, he's still got now one set of reds. If those tend to end up being faster and everybody else employs 2 sets of them, they've got one of their sets which is no longer usable because of that puncture.
This is the battle for 6th, 7th, and 8th. Meantime, Paul Tracy has claimed the lead after that trouble from Sebastian Bourdais. A.J. Allmendinger looked like he might have been leaning on the push-to-pass button to try to get up in contact with the top 2 cars. So Tracy leads Carpentier after starting a little deeper in the field. Tracy started 3rd. Meantime, what's happened to the pole sitter, Derek Daly?
Well, you can see here, this is the rear tire that came off the McDonald's car. It is literally sliced open. That is usually about the size of a wing end plate. Craig Hampson, the engineer for the McDonald's car, just asked me, do we know what happened? Because they do not know who hit Bourdais yet. But there's the telltale signs.
So Sebastian Bourdais, who finished 15th 2 weeks ago in Montreal, his second DNF of the season, gave up a lot of ground to his teammate Bruno Junqueira in the championship fight. He's got to deal himself a tough hand again today, Tom. Back to 14th.
And if he's got extra speed, he's going to have to show it. And not, I mean, without a yellow, he did it at Denver, and he had a huge advantage in hand over everyone else. I'm not sure that's the case here.
So Tracy leads Carpentier, Allmendinger to 3rd, and Ryan Hunter-Reyes 4th at Monterey. 7 laps are on the board here at the Laguna Seca race course. Mazda Raceway, Laguna Seca. The Bridgestone Grand Prix of Monterey. Some wild early action. Pole sitter and championship leader Sebastian Bourdais. Evidently contact with race leader Paul Tracy. Bourdais has come to pit road and has a cut tire that's been taken off already. Paul Tracy, Derek Daly, may need to do the same thing.
Neil Mickelwright, president of Forsyth Racing, is on the radio. Neil, what do you know? We've seen the pictures. It looks like Tracy has a wing rubbing in that front wheel. Are you concerned?
Yeah, I mean, basically, we're not sure because he hasn't said, but we're presuming that he and Bourdais must have touched out there. It appears as though it's tweaked the wing a little bit, so it's rubbing slightly on the right front tyre under some circumstances. We're keeping an eye on the tyre pressure, and it seems to be diminishing with the more laps, so I think we're probably just wearing away a piece of the end fence.
Do you rely on him to make a call to make a pit stop, or would you call him in?
Well, we'll rely on him to make the call as long as we don't see anything on telemetry that we feel is dangerous. If we see something go awry with the tyre pressures, obviously we'll make that call.
Thank you, Neil. On our way down here, Bourdais was told on his radio to go as fast as you can, forget about fuel mileage. So, Tommy, as you know, that's a gamble they were forced into.
A move for the lead, Derek, in the corkscrew. Carpentier trying to get by. Tracy's able to close the door for now.
And there was some big understeer for Tracy on the corner that leads up the hill, and Carpentier got a good run through the corner, got on the push to pass, but he had to go to the right side because Tracy was on the left.
We've got a full course caution being displayed on lap 80 as the leaders, lap 8 I should say, as the leaders come off turn 11. Mario Dominguez has spun in the Urdez number 55. Dominguez, who's had a great run over the last 4 races, 6th, 5th, 4th, and then 3rd on the podium in Montreal. Logic might tell you he was due for a 2nd place run here today, but doesn't look like it'll play out that way. He spins and brings out a full course yellow. 8th complete, working lap 9. Riding with Allmendinger, who sits 3rd. Tracy's leading has a problem. Bourdais, after the tire pit stop, 14th still, has not been able to get by Mario Aberfeld, and Bourdais 1 lap down.
Wow, there's a lot to sort out here. And then we also had a little mix-up with the pace car. The pace car did not get out in time to pick up the leader. And then it looked like Allmendinger went by both Carpentier and Tracy. Now Tracy's back in front of Allmendinger. He's waving Carpentier by as well to reset the order. So
this happened right off of turn 4 on the outside, and that's one of those slick spots that can change in the course of a race.
Yeah, the infield portion, 2, 3, and 4 get progressively slippery. When I talked in my keys to the race about the slippery track, it's that part where it really starts to, the edge starts to go away, and it doesn't really seem to affect the balance much. Both the front and the rear tend to slide more. The car just uses up a lot more road.
So an early caution, which could well affect the fuel strategy and whether drivers are able to make it on 2 or 3 stops. One more look. Let's show you what happens here in the corkscrew.
And that's where they jump off that part when the world drops away from underneath you. And when he dumps it, that's Carpentier, dumps the wheel through the dirt there. That's a function of you turn the car, and depending on how much you rotate, you don't know where the right side tires are going to land. And sometimes they land exactly where you want them to. Sometimes they land a little bit further over to the right. Sometimes they land on Rodolfo Levine's nose.
This was the lap 1 incident that took out Justin Wilson with heavy front end damage. Rodolfo Levine suffering damage to the Index Corona car as well. Both those drivers. Levine's back on the track 1 lap down. Dominguez has gotten refired in the 55 car. He was running well in the early going. He's being shown a lap down now in 16th. But we're still under caution, awaiting the restart. Now, Paul Tracy has stayed out there. I would think this would be a perfect opportunity for him to stop, take fuel, and change those tires.
Well, but they already said they're going to shoot for a 2-stop strategy, and so it looks like they're going to roll the dice. I'm surprised he hasn't pulled over closer to the pit wall to give his crew a good look at that right front wing to see how much it's rubbing. They say they're going to monitor it on the telemetry. Well, I've got a news flash for Neil Milkelright. The pressure is going to look fine until there's no pressure when the thing blows out. But I think it looks like it's the flat part of that wing fence and not a sharp edge. If it was a sharp edge rubbing, it would have gone through already. You
can see the stripe appearing, though, on the inside of the right front tire of Tracy's car. Now, certainly Paul's a veteran. He's won twice here, back in 93 and 94. And I'm sure he knows what he's got there. The question is, when does he come in? Dominguez for tires and fuel. Derek Dale.
He is in. There is it was simply too loose. He could not hang on to it. That's why he made the spin. So they've taken the same opportunity as Bourdais has to stop, fill it with gas, and then go on this alternate pit stop strategy.
So what they're doing, they basically, because they're at the back, they don't have anything to lose. They've committed to a 3-stop strategy now, which means fuel is not a concern for them at all. So they're going to be running their push to pass. They're going to be running a pace where they can push the whole time. Everybody else knows they cannot make the race on 2 stops unless they get laps of yellow, which they're getting right now. And even with laps of yellow, you have to soft pedal it and not use too much fuel.
Well, we've had 2 full course cautions already in just 10 laps. So for those drivers thinking of trying to go on 2 stops, Tracy, as Tommy pointed out, one of them. Certainly this helps that effort down into the corkscrew. Perhaps we'll see a restart this time by. And Tom, let's go back. You have Bridgestone keys to the race as always. What were they once again?
Well, the fuel mileage, and the key is, can you make it on only 2 stops? If it stays green the whole way, by all accounts, none of the guys could make it. Now we've got some yellows, so fuel mileage, that's kind of an episode where they kind of miscalculated. The kart officials miscalculated on race distance, and they're not able to go easily full throttle for two stops. The slippery track, you're going to see the middle of these stints, guys really starting to deal with both either the front end or the back starting to slide, and that plays right into the alternate tires, how you use them. They appear to be a lot quicker than the alternate tires we've seen in the past, maybe as much as 3/4 of a second faster. The other side of that is, because they might be quicker, guys have been saving them through qualifying, they haven't run any long runs on them. They're going to be really watching. This is the first time they've had extended running on the red sidewall tires to see if they fall off substantially at the end of a fuel load. If they don't, you'll see guys putting their second set on at some point during the race. If not, they'll run primaries the rest of the way.
Took the green flag last time by. You're riding with A.J. Allmendinger, the Roosport Western Union number 10. Allmendinger in third. But Ryan Hunter-Reay turning in a good early effort. He is fourth. How about Bruno Junqueira from 8th on the grid to 5th? And Oriol Servia, who started deep in the field today, he has climbed to 6th. Servia's lined up in 12th spot. Some of the other cars up the backstretch here heading toward the corkscrew. That's Mario Haberfeld, who spun early. Bourdais trying to make his way through the field. He's gotten back on the lead lap. He's now up to 10th. So much like we saw in Denver after lap 1 contact for Bourdais, he says, hey, I can race my way through the field.
Well, and with that yellow, it's going to be a big deal where he might be on the top of the podium by the time the day is done.
Tracy is your leader with tire issues facing him. 10 laps are on the board at Laguna Seca. Benjamin, Derek Daly, and Jan Bikas on pit road. It's been a wild first dozen laps here today at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca. The 11th race of 2004 for the Champ Car World Series. This is the Bridgestone Grand Prix of Monterey. Bridgestone Tires, of course, the official tire suppliers of the Champ Car World Series. They'll be the title sponsor in 2 weeks at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, the Bridgestone 400. There. Looks like problems for Jimmy Vasser. This is his home racetrack. Short day on Bikas.
Yes, big problems. Unfortunately, Jimmy on pit road. I know you expected big things today. What put you out?
Well, we're not completely sure. Just I started getting a real rough grinding noise out of the gearbox, out of the final drive area. Under load. If I put my foot in the clutch, it wasn't really making the noise. So, you know, until we get in there, we really don't know. But you know, it's very unfortunate for us. Big AV, we're looking to put that Gulfstream car in the top 5 in points with 4 races to go, and we'll really need a good finish here and the next 3 races to do that. And this really puts a damper on our point structure, but you know, that's the way it goes.
How were the track conditions at the start of the race?
Well, I don't know who went through the corkscrew like Zanardi in '97, but there was just a ton of dirt all over the track. Somebody went offline at the corkscrew, so there was a lot of dirt there. It didn't make for real nice conditions, but all in all, I think it's what we expected.
Sorry you're out early.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Derek?
Alex Tagliani is shown in 11th place. Paul, we saw the damage to the rear wheel earlier. Do we hear on the radio there may be some suspension damage suspected?
Well, when he went out on cold tires, the car was pretty loose. You know, you're trying real hard on an out lap. Everybody's on hot tires. The car seems to have balanced, and he's gone, I think, the fastest race lap. So we hope we don't have a problem. We don't know.
With these yellows, does that make any difference to how you strategize and when you bring him in for the first pit stop?
Well, we did that little stop and go, and that gave us a little bit of a fuel advantage, and we got a few laps better tires than the others, so we can run longer. Hopefully we can make some time back on that strategy.
Good, thanks, Paul. Sounds good.
Trans Am driving champion Paul Gentilozzi came home 4th here yesterday in the Trans Am finale and earned his 4th driving championship. Working lap 14, still under caution. A couple of cars went off here at Laguna Seca. Top 5 as we prepare to go green here at the Champ Car Grand Prix of Monterey, the Bridgestone Grand Prix of Monterey. And Paul Tracy has led all the way so far after the incident that sent Sebastian Bourdais to pit road. As always, all the information you need about the Champ Car World Series available from our website, champcarworldseries.com. For the rest of the season, be sure and sign up for Race Director. You get inside the Champ Car World Series, all of our coverage plus 6 additional cameras, all 18 in-car radios. And you get an opportunity to sign up for the Inner Circle Fan Club, a great way to become even more closely involved with the Champ Car World Series. Ticket discounts, a member cap created exclusively for you. Discounts and giveaways and a whole lot more available with a membership to the Champ Car Inner Circle. Bruno Junqueira will restart 5th, and we're on board the 6th car. What about it, Derek Daly?
Very quick update. The only message he's given on the radio is the car has just too much understeer. Otherwise, it's very, very stable, which is good considering the crash that he had yesterday. Jan Bikas?
An update on Oriol Servia. The noise you heard in the background was Rodolfo Levine just making another pit stop. Might as well put on new tires. But the case for Oriol Servia, spoke with Dale Coyne, the team owner, said that the car has been pretty good all weekend. That they really haven't done much tuning, just fine tuning. Just didn't qualify as well as they had hoped. And obviously, it's showing now on the racetrack. Nice car.
Servia up to 6th after starting back in 12th. Let's show you what's happened early in the going here as we work on lap 16. Right off the start, Justin Wilson got punted, it looked like, there by Levine.
Yeah, Levine just couldn't get a stop, drove right into the side of Justin Wilson. You might argue that's a little bit of euthanasia because Justin Wilson was having a horrible weekend.
Gaston Mazzacani apparently got into it with Nelson Philippe. Later that same lap, after Mazzacani stopped at the corkscrew, Philippe off the front stretch.
And that is a big off. I'm anxious to hear him say, A, how he feels, and B, what happened.
The 18-year-old just turned 18 a few weeks ago. He is okay. Tracy with contact with Bourdais off the green flag. Tracy got the lead. Bourdais had to come to the pits. Tracy's got a damaged right front tire. He's staying out there for now as we approach the start of lap 16. It looks like the green flag will reappear. A.J. Allmendinger sitting pretty at the moment, third for the restart. Maybe the guy to watch is Carpentier. Dominated here a year ago, and you thought he was quicker than Tracy.
I think both Carpentier and Allmendinger. I think Allmendinger, if something happens to Tracy relative to this wing and front tire, Carpentier is obviously in the catbird seat, but I think Allmendinger might be able to give Carpentier a run.
We shall see. Green is back in the air, working lap number 16 here at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca. Glad to have you with us for the Champ Car World Series. On board Allmendinger.
The reason I say that about Allmendinger is he's always been, as good as he's been in qualifying, he's been better in the races. Yeah. He's always gone forward, and it's unusual for a rookie to show that kind of racecraft. Usually they show the speed before they show the racecraft. He's doing it the other way around, and the speed is coming. We know the speed's there with him. It's more a matter of that new team coming to grips with Champ cars and giving him the car he wants. So I think Allmendinger, and if he continues to develop, could well turn into the one guy that can maybe take the fight to Bourdais on a heads-up, even battling it out in qualifying, battling it out in the races basis.
Serbia, meantime, in 6th position, trying to race his way by Bruno Junqueira, who runs in 5th. Down to Jan Bikas.
Well, we saw Justin Wilson stay in the car for a while. You wanted them to try and fix the car so you could get back out, but couldn't get it done.
No, the Major Conquest team did a good job. They were worked on the car. The whole front end was torn up, so they tried to get it running, but once we got everything bolted back on and set ready to go, the steering wheel's upside down. There's a lot of play in the steering rack, so it just wasn't worth risking the car for trying to pick up a couple of points.
Well, the most important question is what happened.
Well, Rodolfo had a problem coming out of the previous corner. He got a bad exit. I got the run on him. But side by side, just went up over the hill. He was on the inside for the corkscrew. We turned in. I left him plenty of room because he had the inside, but it meant I had the outside for the second part. And he just took the normal line. I felt like I got T-boned. He knocked me around. And then to add insult to injury, he just kept his foot and kept ramming me and knocking me down the hill and just kept breaking bits off the front of my car.
Tough break, sorry.
Thanks.
Now we saw his teammate's car get towed behind us a moment ago with heavy damage, and he's with Derek Daly.
Indeed, our 18-year-old teenager, Nelson Philippe. Hard to believe that both MyJack cars went out almost within a couple of laps of each other. Nelson, what happened? It was an unusual accident you had.
Well, I think I had an incident up at the corkscrew with Gaston Mazzacani, and I think it must have been something on the front wing. And coming down the braking zone, I stepped on it. Maybe the wing got under, or the tire had a puncture, and I headed straight for the tires. Nothing I could do. Thankfully, I'm okay, so it's all right. But this is a weekend to forget for the Conquest Racing team, so we're going to Las Vegas. Hopefully, it'll go better there.
Thank you, Nelson.
Tough break indeed. Both of Eric Bachelar's cars out early. Sebastian Bourdais is on the move. He has climbed another spot up to 9th as he works on Roberto Gonzalez for 8th. He's all over him. Here's the move to get the spot by Bourdais. Down into 2. Racing by Haberfeld. Strong move to the inside there.
Yeah, and he was, right as we cut away, it looked like he was about to get into the back of Gonzalez because he had been on the push to pass, did not get up next to him, was closing big time under braking. And what happens then sometimes is you get so close you lose front downforce, and the closer you get, the more you need to stop, the less you can. The front brakes lock, and but it looks like he was able to stay out of the back of Gonzalez.
Bourdais on the pole here today, racing up, trying to get alongside Roberto Gonzalez, who started 18th. He's climbed to 8th with all the carnage. Down into the corkscrew. Bourdais. Tommy, you were telling me earlier, this is a very hard track to pass on. Beautiful racetrack, but you've really got to make your move careful.
Well, you do, and even the straightaways aren't very straight. That bit from turn 6 up to the corkscrew, the line crosses left to right several times. It's hard to get next to someone, even if you've got a run on them. Same thing on the front straightaway. Coming up here, you clip underneath the starter stand, and again going over the top of the hill. And that corner there, the tight one, is really hard to get a much better run than the guy in front of you.
Bourdais looks inside. Tagliani trying to get by Aberfeld and does so. So Alex Tagliani picks up a spot, put him 10th. Gonzalez, though, great early run for the other PKV Lola. This is the NII Holdings car. Had that problem yesterday right before final qualifying. Never ran in the qualifying session after sticking the car in the tire wall very hard. Tagliani, as you heard Paul Gentilozzi say earlier, they think they've got something for the rest of the field here today, and Tag working his way up. He is now 10th. Quarter of the way home here today at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca.
And to show you how difficult it is to pass, the lap that Bourdais ran last lap of 1:15.2, 1.7 seconds slower than the leader. And I think he's probably on pace, if not quicker than the leader. But even though he's that much faster than Gonzalez, it's hard for him to get by.
Now, Guy Smith has raced here previously at Indy Lights competition several years ago. He, too, has cashed in big on all the scrambling that's going on in the first 20 laps. He's come up to 7th spot after starting back in 17th. Birthday boy this weekend. Not approved Champ Car World Series headgear, but certainly in the spirit of things.
I believe he's 29.
Congratulations to Guy Smith. There he is in the 17th, the Rocket Sports car. So Rocket Sports working on quite a weekend. You won Trans Am for them yesterday. Your team owner, Mr. Gentilozzi, won the championship yesterday. And now the two Rocket Sports cars on the move toward the front. Smith in 7th, Tagliani in 10th. How about A.J. Allmendinger? We thought he might have something for the leaders. Still sitting 3rd. He's a 2.5 behind Paul Tracy. And I got to tell you, Tom, I'm really surprised that Tracy's been able to stay on top here for a while. Right before the last caution, looked as though Carpentier in 2nd. He drew up alongside Tracy. Thought he was going to get by before the yellow waved.
Well, they had that one run when they came through turn 6. Tracy got wide off on the extra piece of rumble strip, and then when that ended up in the gravel, and Carpentier got up next to him. Sounds like exactly the same way that Wilson did, but wasn't able to pull it off. He was on the outside approaching the corkscrew.
Tommy, Tracy told Neil Mickelroyd that the car is very good, so when they make the next pit stop, he said he doesn't change it. He doesn't want to change it, even though he has only a slight bit of understeer. So structurally, there's nothing wrong with Tracy's car. It may be just cosmetic.
Getting a look there at the PKV team, working on Jimmy Vassar's Lola, the Gulfstream team not giving up. Jimmy at his home racetrack. He's won here before, 1997, the year after he was the Champ Car World Series champion. He'd like to get back out and make some laps in front of the home fans. The two Forsyth Index cars running 1-2. Tracy's lead less than half a second over the defending champion here, Patrick Carpentier. It's Allmendinger, Hunter Ray, and Junqueira, the rest of your top 5. We're at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca on the Monterey Peninsula of California. The 11th race of the 2004 Champ Car World Series season. This the Bridgestone Grand Prix of Monterey. Alongside Tommy Kendall, I'm Rick Benjamin, Derek Daly, and Jan Beekes on pit road. Home stretch of the 2004 campaign. The points battle could tighten up dramatically again here today. Bruno Junqueira won 2 weeks ago in Montreal, his first victory of the season. He's now 35 points behind this man, Sebastian Bourdais, in the McDonald's number 2. Bourdais had problems off the drop of the green. Started on pole. He's back in 9th right now. His teammate Junqueira is 5th. And the push-to-pass numbers at the top of your screen, and you can see that Bourdais has burned up 35 of the 75 seconds he had allotted to try to get back to the front and into contention here. And he's trying different lines, Tom, as he works on Gonzalez. Why is he doing that?
Well, you know, where he's making up all of his time is on braking and corner entry. Well, all that does is it puts him right up under his gearbox, right in the center of the corner. So what he's done is he's given up a little bit on the entry to try to and stay close enough to him, and then to try to get a better shot coming off, to work on different lines. That's one of the problems with, not problems, but Bourdais' style is speed comes entry and mid-corner. That works when you're going from point A back to point A for lap time, but when you're trying to get by someone, what ends up happening is right where you're trying to roll through the corner, they're already slow, so you get kind of out of sequence, and then they are getting off the corner. Oh, look at this here.
In the corkscrew, he knocks off a wing plate. Contact between Bourdais and Gonzalez, and a piece of the wing has come off the 2 car.
And that's frustration, plain and simple. He says, I'm so much faster than this guy, and it looks like Gonzalez has a flat as a result.
Gonzalez, smoke showing there. He does have a tire down. It's his left rear, so Gonzalez heads to. That's one way to get by him, I guess. Gonzalez has to come to pit road, as does Bourdais, we should say. Junqueira continues to run 5th. So Sebastian Bourdais for the second race in a row. Problems big time for the Newman Haas team.
Car, guys. Front wing and fill the car out.
They will pull the nose cone and slap a new one on there. They'll fuel the car and give him perhaps tires. We would assume so.
And
one of the frustrations for Bourdais is he was on the faster red Bridgestone. Now he has not got his... He has changed onto the harder of the Bridgestone tire, so he did not get an advantage because of what happened there, because Gonzalez was on the harder tires, Jan.
And the harder tire that Gonzalez had on, in fact, has a nice cut in it. We saw why. He was on the pit road, made a quick change. That's where they get cut. That's where they lose the pressure. Certainly, it appeared as though a very aggressive move, a bit certainly untimely for Sebastian Bourdais. But did he get this tire fixed? And Gonzalez is back on course.
Gonzalez out there with the Reds, the Bridgestone alternate tires that are softer and faster. He started 18th, got to 8th. The contact in the pit stop has shuffled Gonzalez to 11th. Another look.
And look how far he's coming from back. At this point, he's not actually trying to pass him. He's trying to stop. He got in. That mistake was made way back right at the start of that shot where he went so deep under braking. He went to the inside because he would have just drilled him straight up the back had he not. That is definitely... You know, the criteria that the officials use now for avoidable contact, clearly he should be expecting a penalty.
Bourdais at the moment in 12th. Gonzalez is in front of him in 11th. Derek Daly.
Have a look at the wing here. You can see carbon fiber does not bend very well. It just literally shreds. It's so brittle. But you can see all the pieces now. I hope none of these carbon fiber shards are left out on the racetrack, because that is what also causes punctures.
We shall see. New wing on the nose of the 2 car. So Bourdais, the championship leader, second race in a row he's had problems. And Tommy, you pointed this out several weeks ago that for Junqueira, Tracy, Tagliani, any of those guys to have a chance, he had to have problems. He's had 2 weeks in a row of problems.
I was going to say, one weekend isn't going to do it. He's still at a 35-point lead, but now all of a sudden he's is he still on the lead lap? He's still on the lead lap, but I think just barely.
Barely. He's showing 1:05 behind the leader, and that's almost a full lap. And we're hearing that there could be problems with the fuel situation for Bourdais, that perhaps they didn't fill the car up. As we ride with Junqueira, he has made a move and gotten himself to 4th spot around Ryan Hunter-Reay. And now we hit lap 27, so this is the start of the fuel window.
Exactly. So the fact that Tracy has made it, all these guys have made it to 27, means that they're inside the window. Those laps of yellow have put them to where they can make it on a 2-stop.
Up top of your screen, running order along with the point standings. Drivers and their points that they've accumulated thus far. Sebastian Bourdais, 269 as they run right now.
What I was going to say when Bourdais was in the pits right before Derek took over is that to add insult to injury, he was stopping on lap 25. If you work backwards, he probably can't do it on 2 more stops even. And then we hear he doesn't have a full tank of fuel. So it's going from bad to worse to Bourdais. And even though Junqueira hasn't been spectacular, he's in 4th right now. He and Tracy both are going to make up big ground.
Battle for the top spot. Tracy talking to Neil Mickelwright. Sounds like they're headed to pit road next time by. And if he makes it, that would mean that the contact and the tire damage on the right front corner did not hinder Tracy's run to a possible win here today. This is Junqueira. He's 4th. Back up front. Carpentier 2nd in the index number 7.
Tracy has just been told on the radio by his crew guys, do not worry about fuel anymore. We need you to build a gap over Pat for your pit stop.
Tracy's only used 9 push-to-pass seconds thus far. Carpentier's used 11. A.J. Allmendinger used 17. And here comes the race leader. Locks up the brakes. Headed your way, Derek Daly.
Okay, watch your speed in the pit lane. Watch your speed in the pit lane. We're all set up for you. You've got an open pit in, open pit out. Concentrate on your marks. It'll be a fairly long stop, but concentrate on your marks. We're looking good. Everything's going smooth.
Much rather hear from Neil Mickelroy than hear from me on that pit stop, but I was concentrating on the right front wing. It looks like there's only tire marks on most of that wing, so I don't think there's any problem with Paul Tracy's right front wing at all from here on in.
Well, it looked as I was looking to see if they pulled it back. They did put a hand on it. I don't know if they actually could move it or not. But it does appear that there's airspace now between the tire and the wing.
Now, what's more important right now is the lap that these guys are trying to run. Both Carpentier and Allmendinger are trying to put in their fastest lap of the race. See the push to pass button on this in lap. And remember last year, Tracy and Carpentier were battling. Tracy ended up flat spotting his tires, getting out of the pits. I reckon that these guys running that lap on hard tires, one or both of them could come out in front of Tracy.
As we watch Allmendinger and Carpentier head to pit road, Jan Bikas.
And of course, that is what they're going to try and do here as far as the Forsyth crew. They want to try and beat out their teammate. They're going to go with one more set of alternates. They have changed the tire pressure. They raised the tire pressure on all four of these. The tires were done quickly, but they also are waiting for every last gasp of fuel. 12.5 seconds now. Let's see who comes out in front.
He's way ahead of Tracy, and it looks like it'll be interesting to see. And Allmendinger's had a problem.
A.J. Allmendinger stalled. There were no changes. He is taking off the softer red Bridgestones. And he has put on his second set of soft red Bridgestones. But stalling that has lost him about 6 or 7 seconds. That could be very costly.
But Carpentier, as you predicted, Tommy, off pit road in front of Tracy.
But the battle isn't quite over yet because Tracy has one more lap of heat in his tires. So Tracy is going to do everything he can to try to get by Carpentier on this lap.
Now all of this has cycled Alex Tagliani to the head of the class on lap 30. Patrick Carpentier in second spot now. Michel Jourdain showing third. Tracy scored fourth. Junqueira cycles back to fifth. Allmendinger sixth. Oriol Serbia seventh. Ryan Hunter-Reay sits in eighth ahead of Guy Smith. And Mario Aberfeld. That's your top 10 as 30 laps go on the board here at Mazda Raceway, Laguna Seca. Carpentier in front of Tracy right now on the racetrack, but Tagliani is leading the Bridgestone Grand Prix of Monterey. Alex Tagliani is the leader. 33 laps completed, Mazda Raceway, Laguna Seca. With Tommy Kendall, I'm Rick Benjamin, Derek Daly, Jan Bikas are on pit road. Round 11 of the Champ Car World Series here in 2004, and it's been a very interesting race. First 20 laps, 3 full course cautions. Several of the drivers we expected to contend have had problems. Sebastian Bourdais on the pole. He and Paul Tracy had contact right off the drop of the green. Bourdais been battling back ever since. He's a lap down in 12th spot. Right now, as they run, Bourdais, if things go the way they're going now, it would be his second consecutive difficult week, and his lead over Junqueira would be cut down to 24 points heading to Las Vegas. Derek Daly.
Quick update on Paul Tracy. He's obviously unhappy. We just monitored the radio message from Neil Mickelroy, who said, Paul, you need to understand we refuse to run you out of fuel. Paul thinks they stopped him too early. Quick update on Bruno. Just keep an eye on him. Bruno put one turn of front wing on to get rid of a bit of understeer. He then said the car would be very good. He has just gone on the soft red Bridgestones. Just keep an eye on Tommy.
Riding with Junqueira, second in the championship, fifth in the race. Yesterday, he had a very tough day, Tom.
Yeah, in the morning, practice went off in the fast turn 9. Big wreck about 3 hours before qualifying, and the Newman Haas team decided to fix this car rather than going to a backup car. And they got to really strut their stuff. We're going to get to see exactly what they did to put this thing back together.
I got it.
See the wrinkled wishbone, suspension there, torn off, wing. The side pod was messed up, the floor, or underwing.
Had to take the bodywork off the side pods. Champ Car officials watching what they worked on. There's the under tray coming off. Look at all the debris picked up in there. Had to redo the suspension, reset the brakes. And then Derek told us they found a bent piece today that they missed yesterday. The Newman Haas team tweaking the car just as they rolled him out to qualify, and he managed an 8th quick lap yesterday afternoon. Riding with Junqueira down into turn 2. Let's take you full throttle at Mazda Raceway, Laguna Seca. second corner here at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca. A tour of this 2.25-mile racetrack with Bruno Junqueira. Fresh off his first win of the year 2 weeks ago in Montreal, trying to get into contention in the championship. And he's got what he needs here today. His teammate Bourdais stuck back in 12th. Junqueira is 5th. He needs to start charging toward the front. As we watch Patrick Carpentier third behind Michel Jourdain. Jourdain tucked up behind the 55 of Dominguez, who's 13th. Alex Tagliani is your leader right now on a different pit stop cycle from everyone else. Hearing that he may be headed to pit road next time by.
Carpentier is flying. You saw the gap back to him just a few laps to go, and he has checked out on Paul Tracy. Paul Tracy has been just lighting up the airwaves, yelling at his crew, saying, you guys keep giving races away. And then they came back and told him, you don't need to save fuel. He says, why didn't you tell me that 5 friggin' laps ago while Pat's checking out into the distance? So starting to hear some frustration.
Derek Daly.
Tag is on his way in. Paul Gentilozzi just told me tire wear is a big issue, not just on the soft Bridgestone Reds, but also on the regular tire. I love when drivers have to manage the tires all the way through a stint. Paul Gentilozzi said lap 22 or 23, tires begin to lose grip. They have a problem with the left front. Left front.
Fumbled the lug nut on the left front tire. They get it on, and Tagliani back up to speed, heading toward turn 2. Remember what happened 2 weeks ago in Montreal? Similar situation to Nelson Felipe, and he went way off and into the wall as Gaston Mazzacani makes his way around turn 2. Well, tires, of course, the Bridgestones, very, very capable tires in both the softer reds and the black walls, and Jan Beekes has more on that.
Well, you just heard Derek Daly talking about the concerns about tire wear with Al Spire of Bridgestone, and here is an alternate tire that has about 30 laps on it. Now, what do you think here? What's the wear telling you?
Well, Jan, this tire is actually off of Oriol Servia's car. It ran the entire first stint, and if you can see, the wear indicators have hole left here all the way across the tire. This tire actually looks quite good and is holding up very well.
A lot of people very, very excited about this alternate tire. Next to us also Kevin Kalkoven from the ownership side. This is a partnership deal between you and Bridgestone. It looks like it's really paying off.
Yes, it really is. It's almost like we've got 2 tire manufacturers in one. These option tires are worth about 0.3 of a second. Our drivers were reckoning, and they're able to get the power down a lot earlier. So it introduces a whole new element of strategy into the race.
Okay, thank you. We have a problem on pit road. Let's get to Derek.
Major problem with the left, the right front tire. Now Tracy has stalled it. He has stalled the engine. The frustration level goes up there. Also going to change the front nose. So obviously whatever we thought was going to stay stable for the rest of the race. Neil Mickelroyd is not even talking to Paul Tracy on the radio. They just know what's going to happen here. They're forced to take the wing off because of the contact he made with Bourdais early in the race. Carpentier looks good now. Oh, sometimes it only takes seconds.
We're almost there. Hold on.
Even to change a nose, but it just seems like an eternity.
So Tracy lights them up.
New set of primary tires. New set of primary tires.
We're talking to Paul as he comes up through the gearbox and heads off toward turn 2. But as we thought earlier, Tommy, that wing on the outside front there on the right front corner did rub the tire and cause the problem, evidently.
Yeah, clearly. And you could probably almost predict this happening. You know, I figured the chances of Paul Tracy saying, I'm going to give up the lead of a race so you can put a new nose cone on wasn't going to happen. They were going to roll the dice, which is what they did. But that's not a huge surprise. Once the structural integrity of that whole nose structure is compromised, it's only going to get worse.
Well, Michel Jourdain Jr. has cycled to the lead of the Bridgestone Grand Prix of Monterey. Halfway next time by, he leads Carpentier on the Western Union number 10. At Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca, A.J. Allmendinger, who was in the top 3 earlier, some contact moments ago with Oriol Servia, has bent the front end of the 10 car, and they have had to bring him to pit road, shut the car off, and go to work on the nose of the Western Union Lola. 5 lead changes so far among 5 drivers. Patrick Carpentier, now your leader. Let's take a look here at what happened. That was on board Allmendinger. That contact with Servia is what bent the front end up.
Yeah, we kind of joined that late, so we don't know what that looked like starting out, but clearly he was trying to outbrake Oriol. Came down the inside, Oriol turned in, and AJ was a long ways up alongside of him, but He was just about even wheel to wheel, but he was going fast enough that he couldn't hold the car in as tight as he needed to.
Michel Jourdain had pitted. He's off cycle on pit stop strategy as well with all the cautions we've had. So all of this has cycled Patrick Carpentier back to the head of the class in the Index Forsyth number 7. Bruno Junqueira 13 seconds behind. Oriol Servia moves to 3rd. What about Paul Tracy, who led so many laps after the drop of the green? What about the update, Derek Daly?
Well, Pam Hall, one of Bridgestone's tyre engineers, has just come down to examine Paul Tracy's tyre. You can clearly see what happened here. If you look in here, Rick Rice can come in. The cords of this tyre are visible because these chunks of rubber actually got sliced off the inside of Paul Tracy's tyre from that front wing. Now, it didn't blow, but I can tell you from looking in here, there's so much damage. This was within millimeters of just exploding this tyre.
And after that contact that shoved the wing back into the right front tire at the drop of the green, we thought that was going to happen on the first set. That's the second set of tires.
Yeah, so, I mean, the way that wing fence was setting against the tire was just the flat part about it, but as time went along, you know, at top speed, both going into turn 2 and going up into the corkscrew, there are, you know, thousands of pounds of air pressure pushing against that, and so it eventually just eased it back to the point where then the sharp edge of that fence was getting into the tire, and then it just acts like a blade, like peeling an apple.
So your leader's Carpentier, lap 43 on the board, 80 here today. Bruno Junqueira 2nd, 15 seconds behind. Servia and Hunter Ray, the rest of the top 4. At Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca, the Bridgestone Grand Prix of Monterey, the 11th race of the 2004 Champ Car World Series season. With Tommy Kendall, I'm Rick Benjamin. Derek Daly and Jan Beekers have been very busy on pit road today because we've got a lot of incidents involving several of the key contenders here today. But Patrick Carpentier is in command right now, 17 seconds in front of Bruno Junqueira, who runs 2nd. Let's take you back and show you some of what's happened on the start. They were a little ragged coming to the green. Bourdais on pole. Carpentier alongside, but Tracy on the inside up behind Bourdais. Into the corkscrew on lap 1. Rodolfo Levine got into Justin Wilson, pushed him off the racetrack. Let's take another look. You might have heard Wilson say earlier that Levine kept his foot in it and kept shoving him down the hill. Bourdais with a move as he was trying to get back into contention. That was to pass Mario Haberfeld. And on lap 20, Alex Tagliani, who led a few laps to the inside of Haberfeld in turn 2. 5 laps later, this is Bourdais, but he was trying to get by Roberto Gonzalez, who was slower, knocked part of the wing off. It was the second incident of the day. The Newman Haas team brought the McDonald's car onto pit road for a new nose cone and tires. Paul Tracy had contact early with Bourdais, bent the front wing. He raced through a stint. On the second stint, they decided they had to change the front wing because he had cut down another tire. And then Allmendinger, just a few moments ago, had contact with Oriol Servia while they were both at the top 5. It bent the toe link on the 10 car, and A.J. Allmendinger, who we thought might have a shot at victory here today, frustrated, off the racetrack, still working on the car. He is 7 laps down and still on pit road. Patrick Carpentier, who led all the way here a year ago, won't do that today, but he has benefited greatly from Bourdais' problems, from Tracy's problems. He's led the last 6 laps. We've had 5 lead changes, 5 different drivers on the lead. Junqueira runs 2nd. Oriol Servia with a great day going for Dale Coyne's team in the YokeTV.com car. He's 3rd. Ryan Hunter-Reay runs in 4th spot. It's been a very steady day for Ryan Hunter-Reay, who won that race in dominant fashion on the oval at Milwaukee. He's looking forward to Las Vegas in 2 weeks. He loves the ovals, but today he's got a good day going. Derek Daly, Ryan Hunter-Reay with a strong run into 4th spot.
Yes, indeed. Keith Wiggins is team owner of the Herdez team. Keith, you made a statement yesterday that you didn't think the team was operating at the level it should be. Today's a better day?
Yeah, well, I think, you know, it's so close. We should be at the front, and yesterday we were a lot quicker than we qualified, just because sometimes you know, second run you try a bit more and you don't get it as good as you wanted to. But this morning in warm-up, they were both fast. So that's more representative of where we think we will be running in the race. They're both fast. We went on 2 different strategies, and unfortunately, you know, we lost something with Mario spinning, but I think he would have been in good shape. And I think Ryan's in good shape, so we'll just see how the stops pan out. The fuel economy obviously plays a part here, but the yellows have helped everybody, so.
Yes, indeed. Ryan Hunter-Reay currently running fourth. Remember, he's dominated the oval at Milwaukee and, of course, won last year in Australia.
Ryan Hunter-Reay, one of the great hopes of the Champ Car World Series. And we will go to Australia in the month of October for the Lexmark Indy 300 at Surfers Paradise. And we'll have coverage for you right here as we watch Bruno Junqueira, second on the board, stands to benefit greatly. At this point, of course, his teammate Bourdais is the points leader, but he's stuck back in 10th, still on the lead lap. Bourdais actually lost ground the last couple of laps to Carpentier. He's almost a minute behind right now. Oriol Servia runs third for Dale Coyne's team. That's the OakTV.com card. Tommy, he's just a little bit faster than he was on the highways earlier this week, huh?
Well, yeah, he went to the Winston Cup race at California Speedway last weekend, spent some time in Southern California, then drove up Highway 101, and he met some of the CHP officers. Got pulled over for doing 105. Got here to the racetrack, and the guy's partner works part-time as a volunteer in the paddock area, so they called the officer up and gave him a little ribbon and said, hey, what are you doing pulling over my boy? But he said he only rode him for 95.
Very charitable of him, I'd say.
Yeah, downright.
So Servia turning in another good ride. Qualified 12th in that 11 car, but he's picked up 9 spots and has stayed clean, out of trouble.
And I saw Oriol on Sunday night in Montreal, and I said, how did it go today? He says, you know, the results wasn't our best result. He says, but today was one of the best races of my career. He says, I felt like I drove every lap absolutely as well as I could. Qualifying pace the entire time. He says, I'm very, very satisfied with that result. And that's sometimes how it happens.
Sure.
What you feel are your best races are not the ones with the best results.
Very personable Spaniard. Love talking to Oriol. He's always got plenty to say and very forthcoming about the race car. Riding here with Junqueira, the Pacific Air Newman Haas Lola, the number 6. He continues to run second. Carpentier leading in the Index car, moving up alongside his teammate Rodolfo Levine, who was involved in that early incident with Justin Wilson, knocking the young Brit off the racetrack on lap 1 and ending his day early. Jan Beek standing by in the Index pit. Forsyth's team, and Jan Carpentier just running away with this thing at the moment.
Yes, and Eric Zito is on the radio with Patrick Carpentier. Things going very, very well for you. You have to put on primary tires now. Will you wait as long as you can since they're not as fast?
Really, I mean, he's fast. The red tires he's on right now, they already have 7 laps on them. The regular tires that we have, they're stickers. And he's really lapping about a second a lap faster than anybody in the track right now. So we really don't have any concerns going to the primary.
So we bring him in, therefore, a little bit conservatively, a little bit earlier?
We're going to go conservative, but not too conservative. We definitely don't want to run too many laps on our last set of tires.
But so far, the magic is still playing here for Carpentier. Derek?
Quick update on Bruno Junqueira. He was just over 10 seconds behind Patrick Carpentier. Then he got stuck behind Paul Tracy. He was then 18 seconds and livid and screaming on the radio. The team at Newman Haas went to the Champ Car officials asking for Tracy to be given the blue move-over flag. He was just given it on the last lap, but very costly for Bruno.
Throwing a tear off as he heads over the hill at turn 1 and down to 2, the left-hander here at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca. Lap speeds up at the top of your screen along with the running order, working lap 52 of 80. We'll be very, very close on a timed race. We had a lot of cautions early, many laps under caution in the first 40. Since then, we have been clean and green, so it'll be pretty close if we stay green the rest of the way. Carpentier 21 seconds ahead of Bruno Junqueira in the lead right now. Servia third, Hunter-Reay fourth. Jourdain, who led laps earlier, sits 5th. The Bridgestone Grand Prix of Monterey. 30 laps to go. Seca. A.J. Allmendinger's crew hauling the 10 car back toward the paddock area to put it on board the hauler and take it back to their base in the Denver, Colorado area. The Roosport team will go to work on that car and get him ready for the oval track round at Las Vegas. It was fun to watch Allmendinger at Milwaukee, the only other oval race earlier this season. Never really had much experience on ovals. Got a 5th there. This is Allmendinger giving up ground. Bourdais getting by as they headed to the corkscrew a little earlier. And we watch as Allmendinger then brought the car down to pit road. This was a while back when Allmendinger was still on the racetrack.
I think what might have happened is they might have done some repairs to send him back out, and the car was still not right.
So full course caution showing on the racetrack now. We saw that Roberto Gonzalez had stopped earlier on Bourdais to pit road.
And the pit window is open. We're past lap 53, so.
With the leader on pit road, this time we heard from the crew. They actually like these primary tires. Waiting on the fuel. Just a tick over 11 seconds. And let's get the Bourdais situation with Derek.
Well, our championship leader just came in, had a very clean stop. Paul Tracy is hoping to get that 10th place from Sebastian Bourdais, and Bruno Junqueira, the man who was 22 seconds behind, frustrated by being stuck behind Paul Tracy, is now putting on his last set of Bridgestone. They are the regular tires, the primary tires, not the softer reds. Good stop for Junqueira. Now the chase is on. Can he catch Patrick Carpentier?
We shall see. We're under caution. Everyone has to hold position, of course, but you can close up behind the safety car. The gap last time by 21 seconds as Michel Jourdain leaves the pit area. The other Rousport ride, that's the Agante number 9. Servia third, Jourdain fourth at the time of the caution. Mario Haberfeld had cycled to fifth, and he will drop back to sixth as Ryan Hunter-Reay moves by the timing and scoring mark. Now Jourdain back on the racetrack. A reminder, as always, get all the information you need about the Champ Car World Series 24/7. The website is champcarworldseries.com, and be sure to check out the Race Director feature. It gets you directly inside the Champ Car World Series during our coverage. Everything we have for you, plus 6 additional cameras, all 18 pit-to-car radios, and an opportunity on the website for you to join the Inner Circle Fan Club here in 2004. Get ticket discounts and exclusive member cap designed especially for Inner Circle members. Discounts and giveaways as well available at champcarworldseries.com. Safety car is out under full course caution. 25 laps to go. More importantly, we've got 29 minutes of racing left here at Monterey. Green is back in the air, coming off a full course yellow to begin lap 58 at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca. Carpentier to the inside of Rodolfo Levine, who's a lapped car. Levine back in 12th. So Carpentier trying to get away from Junqueira, riding with Junqueira, who's in second spot. You can see Oriol Servia back there third in the Dale Coyne Yoke TV 11 car. Derek Daly, how about Servia? Jan Beekes.
Well, the interesting thing is that Oriol Servia and a great call from Dale Coyne, they are the only car in the top 5 that saved a set of alternate tires for the final run. So watch the cars go by. You'll see the black sidewalls for first and second place, then the reds, as they call it, for Servia. Now we'll find out if, in fact, that was a good call and it's enough speed to make a pass.
Alex Tagliani, meantime, in the Johnson Controls Lola, trying to get inside Levine, who's a lapped car. Levine slammed the door on him there, Tommy.
Yeah, Levine, that was one thing I was looking for in the restart. You see, as you see Tracy coming up the inside of someone or other.
Looked like he was headed toward Bourdais. He's in front of Bourdais. There's Haberfeld. Tracy behind Guy Smith in the running order last time by, and there he is. He's now up behind the Urdez cars. Yep, to Ryan Hunter-Reay already.
He's in the pits.
Paul Tracy headed to pit road.
Watch your speed in the pit lane. We're all set up and ready for you. Concentrate on your marks right under Steve's hand. Okay, you're good on the marks. Reset your fuel meter. Reset the fuel meter. Everything's going smooth. Wait for it. Wait. Go, 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 go.
As we said earlier, there's no better commentary than to ride on board with Neil Mickelwright. He really has a knack of talking Paul Tracy through very difficult situations, and being caught by the pace car, now being behind. Sometimes it's difficult to keep Tracy focused because obviously it's got to be a very frustrating day.
Unfortunately, the problem is they're putting him in some of those unfortunate situations. Once he got waved around the pace car, they should have brought him in that lap and gotten his last stop out of the way. They were going green, which is apparently why they didn't. But him running a half a lap at speed should have been enough time and distance to get him out in front of the pace car. So I'm a little puzzled by that. So some questionable calls by the Forsythe team.
So Tracy at the moment showing 10th on the lead lap. We'll see if that changes when they pass by the timing and scoring stripe here. This is Bruno Junqueira, the Newman Haas 6, the Pacific Care car. He runs second. Carpentier in the 7. The Indec Forsythe car out in front, building the lead to 2.1 seconds last time by. As you said, Tommy, right now no one has anything for Carpentier. 20 to go. Pit stop window just closing. The mandatory stop had to come between 53 and 63, but everyone has made their stop, so that is no longer an issue. And it appears that time will be in play here today. 21 laps to go. We have only 22 minutes of racing to go. Meantime, let's get the thoughts of the young driver who got bounced out of the race prematurely today. Jan Beekes.
Yes, and AJ has had an opportunity to cool off a little bit, I assume. Tell us about what happened out there.
Bonehead mistake by me. That's all it comes down to. I'm sorry to my guys because they had a great pit stop. I thought we might get out front of Pat, and I stalled it. And then we had a great race car, Rouge Sport, and like usual, gave me an absolute fabulous race car. Western Union, Red Bull, and BG Products, they were great. And I'm sorry for my crew. I'm sorry to Oriole because that was an absolute stupid mistake by me. I was just pushing to get around him because I was quicker. Hopefully he doesn't mess up his race. It doesn't look like it did, but just a stupid mistake on my part. But fortunately for the team, we still have Michelle running fourth, and that's good. And we're there, but the driver just needs to stop making mistakes.
Now we can see the intensity, certainly hear the intensity, and Tommy Kendall was saying it seems like you've turned the corner on your expectations and what you expect. Is that because the team has all come together now and given you the equipment you want?
Yeah, I mean, it's just I'm getting better in the race car. I'm more confident in it. The team's given me great race cars for the past 5-6 weeks, and this weekend was probably the best. You know, I don't know if I could have beat Pat, but I sure could have ran with him easily. And, you know, it's just a stupid mistake. I've never stalled it on a pit stop like that. And then after that, I was faster than both the guys, and I was just pushing too hard and saw one opportunity, but coming on the straightaway, I knew I never had a chance, and I don't even know why I tried it.
Hometown boy with a tough day.
22-year-old races out of Loveland, Colorado now, but originally from Hollister, California, and he has won here before. Watching Ryan Hunter-Reay, the 4 car there, the Urdez machine, up in 5th position behind Michel Jourdain, North 4th. Now here's the move that cost Allmendinger. Bonside to the inside of Servia, down into turn 2, contact, and then bent the front end.
I mean, that was an aggressive move, but he's piling on a little bit on himself. It wasn't like he didn't get close. I mean, they were almost wheel to wheel. He was going too fast to make the corner, but he was pretty close to getting it done.
Now, that's the second race in a row something like that's happened to Allmendinger. He went wide at turn 10 at Montreal, got into Bourdais, and took Bourdais out.
Yeah, I mean, they're very similar, and they are his fault, but they're not idiotic moves that you say there's no chance he could have pulled that off. If Servia did like Haberfeld and knew he was coming and gave him a little bit of room, it would have turned out fine. He was a long ways alongside, so I mean, it is his fault, but it wasn't like he had no prayer pulling it off.
Sebastian Bourdais, the championship leader on lap 61, less than 20 to go. He's climbed to 7th. Now remember, Bourdais started on the pole, got hit by Tracy in lap 1, had to go to the back, had to stop actually on lap 2 for tires, got shuffled to the back again after yet another incident. He is back on the lead lap. He's raced his way to 7th. He's 15 seconds off the lead. What happens to the championship? Well, if Junqueira does run 2nd and Bourdais ends up 7th, the points lead is cut to 26 with 3 races to go, heading to Las Vegas in 2 weeks. As we watch the McDonald's 2-car head to the front straightaway, right in front of Haberfeld, who is in 8th spot. Mario Haberfeld very steady. He was 5th here a year ago, Haberfeld. As we watch Tagliani move to the inside of the lap car, Rodolfo Levine, that's the Corona beer car. Tagliani in the 8 led earlier. He is 6th right now. Ryan Hunter-Reay in 5th. They're in the 4.
Levine being very courteous, getting out of the way of those guys coming through.
Fellas, Craig Hampson's engineer for Sebastian Bourdais just walked down to Will Phillips, the engineer for Mario Dominguez, asked him would he move over as soon as Sebastian appears in his mirrors to let Sebastian get on his way here. Remember, Mario already moved over to let Ryan Hunter-Reay get a free run on that restart.
Dominguez in the 55, directly in front now of Bourdais. That's the 2nd Urdez car. Dominguez shown 11th, the lap down.
What was the answer to the question, Derek?
The answer was go take a hike.
There you go.
There's camaraderie on pit road, but only to a point. Working out a time situation, most likely. Champ Car has not yet informed the teams this will be a timed race, but you could suppose that the teams have probably figured it out with 17 laps to go. And we've got 16 minutes on the clock remaining here today. Derek Daly.
Actually, Tommy, the answer was not take a hike because he had not given the answer yet, but there you see them.
Take a look, shot him through. All right, thank you. 10-4.
There you go, Tommy. You asked for the answer, I'll give it to you.
Looks as though the Urdez team will allow Bourdais to make the move by.
What I took from that is he says, I'm not going to pull over until you get to me. When you get to me and you make any kind of a look, I'll let you go. So you see the gap right here. He's going to make him get up close, and then at that point, it sounds like he'll yield. The reason that's a consideration, and the reason he felt okay asking is Dominguez is a lap down.
Watching your third place car, the OakTV.com 11 car of Oriol Servia. Servia 3 seconds behind Junqueira, who's second. Top three are fairly well spread out right now. Junqueira down into 2. He's 5 seconds behind Carpentier, who has said, see ya.
Of course, fellas, my mistake there. That was Mike Cannon, of course, not Will Phillips. Will Phillips is Ryan Hunter-Reay's engineer. So Mike Cannon, you got yourself on television.
With Junqueira.
Look at, Carpentier is just checked out. He's fled the scene. 5.1 seconds. He's running laps in the low 112 on the primary tires. And this is a bid for him. He's won a race every year for the past 4 years. We talked to him yesterday. He said, well, you're running out of races. He said, well, we're going to do what we can.
This would be his second consecutive victory here at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca. His teammate Tracy did it in 93 and 94. Through the corkscrew. How about turning up full throttle with Bruno Junqueira? Corkscrew with the second place driver, Bruno Junqueira. Car number 6. Second of the championship. Comes off that win at Montreal 2 weeks ago, his first of the season. Hoping for an opportunity to contend here today, but it's really been an uphill struggle. I'm impressed with the effort Junqueira and the team have turned in, considering how he stuck the car on the wall yesterday. They did qualify him 8th anyway. Car obviously not handling as well as he needs it to, but he has managed to take advantage of the situation and get to second and ride now 6.2 seconds behind Patrick Carpentier. Carpentier in the 7 car out in front, and we are just getting the word from the Champ Car World Series officials. This, in fact, will be a timed race today. So 14 minutes and 40 seconds remaining at Monterey. Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca, the scene of round 11 of the Champ Car World Series in 2004. It's the Bridgestone Grand Prix of Monterey. With Tommy Kendall, I'm Rick Benjamin. Jan Beekes and Derek Daly are on pit road. Laps winding down. This now will be a timed race. We've got 11 minutes and 30 seconds to go. Now let's take a look at Carpentier. Patrick Carpentier with a 5.5 second lead, but he had an incident a moment ago, Tommy Kendall, that could have ended his day prematurely.
Coming into turn 11, and he just drives off the road on the braking zone. Lucky he got it stopped.
Just managed to collect the car before he went way off and into the tires. Came back to the middle of the racetrack, gathered things back up, cleaned the tires, and set sail once again, and ran at 112.8 last time.
Yeah, I mean, that's clearly the case of his mind wandering a little bit. Thinking about something further down the road than just the next corner.
Ford running order, top of your screen, along with the gap behind the leader, Sebastian Bourdais. What's his situation? Well, he's stuck in 7th. He's still behind Tagliani by about a second, 0.2. Battle for 4th continues to rage. Ryan Hunter-Reay in the number 4, the Urdez Lola. Right up behind Michel Jourdain's Zagante car. He is 4th. Hunter-Reay is 5th. 6th belongs to Tagliani. and Bourdais is 7th. Top 3, Carpentier, Junqueira, and Servia. They're 15 seconds first to third. There's a glimpse of Servia at the end of the corkscrew, heading down toward the last couple of corners here. Jan Beekes, it could be a podium today for Dale Coyne's team.
And certainly looks pretty exciting, Dale. Starting 12th, now running in 3rd. The alternate tires on the car. You think those Bridgestones are enough to put something at Junqueira?
Well, he started on options, and we finished on options, but he set his fastest lap on lap 5, so he's doing a great job today.
You had said the car's actually been pretty good all weekend, but it was a case of not getting the qualifying performance you wanted?
Yeah, we had some engine issues, and we felt we were down on power a little bit, so we changed engines. This engine seems to be a little bit better, and he's hauling the mail.
Well, it looks good. Could be a great day for you.
Yeah, it'd be nice to get back on a podium. It's been a while.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ryan Hunter-Reay update. They know he is faster than Jourdain. Keith Wiggins is not so sure he has enough speed to make a banzai move down the inside as you see him continue to chase him here. Now, to Herda's teammate, Mario Dominguez, he's way off the pace. They are going to bring him in. They're going to put a new set of the red Bridgestone soft tires. They're going to have him use the push-to-pass, try and get fast lap of the race for that bonus championship point.
Might as well roll the dice and grab everything you can here today.
The way they've torn up cars this year, that might backfire on them. But hey, I like the spirit.
Less than 9 minutes to go. Top left of your screen, the clock has come into play. 1:45, the time limit. Here's Bourdais right up behind Tagliani. That is for position.
See, there's a big traffic jam now behind Jourdain. Jourdain's obviously holding up for Hunter-Reay, and now he's starting to get backed up to Tagliani and Bourdais. So, but the aerodynamic disruption behind the cars. Look at Bourdais.
Trying the outside of Tagliani, taking a look there in turn 2. Is he trying to go high and get a run to the inside?
Yes,
coming
he's trying to
turn
kind of
4?
arc it in so that he's not able to use his speed advantage on the entry, so he's giving that up, really trying to get off that corner where wheel spin's a problem to get a better run down to turn 3.
Tagliani 6th, Bourdais, the points leader, is 7th. 5th belongs to Ryan Hunter-Reay directly in front of this duel. 4th to Jourdain. 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th are nose to tail as the laps wind down. Should be about 6 to go as we get inside 8 minutes left here at Monterey. Been a wild one here today, but Patrick Carpentier has cashed in big. He's got a 7.7 second lead with less than 8 minutes of racing to go today in the 11th race of the season. 4.5 minutes of racing remain today at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca with Tommy Kendall. I'm Rick Benjamin, Jan Beekes, and Derek Daly on pit road. Carpentier just setting sail. Jan Beekes 8.5 seconds to the good.
Yeah, and you talked about not putting a wheel wrong, and then we corrected ourselves, said, well, he has put a couple wheels wrong. Check out his earlier set of alternate tires. That is what you call a flat spot. That's off Carpentier's car, so he has been pushing very, very hard. We know he's had some awesome laps, but he's not taking it easy on the tires or the car today.
And Carpentier stands to benefit in another way from this strong run. If things continue as they are, he would move back into a tie for 3rd in the championship with Tracy. And they would be 62 points behind Jourdain, or rather Bourdais, I should say, and thus not out of it by any means with a couple of races left in the season. 3:40 to go of race time left. Time for about 3 more laps as we watch Carpentier continue to build the lead. Kara runs in 2nd spot, 3rd to Servia.
He's on the push to pass. He says, I got all in the bank. I don't get to carry that to the next race. I'm going to burn it up.
And he's done all this by using only 20 seconds of the 75 seconds allotted today.
He's just having fun.
That battle we showed you earlier, Jourdain, Ryan Hunter-Reay, Tagliani, and Bourdais, 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th. It remains that way. Jourdain continues to run 4th, although he is 30 seconds behind the leader. Coming up behind Mario Dominguez here. On the button, as they say, heading toward turn 2. The Andretti hairpin.
And here's Mario Dominguez, who's gone out on reds, and to use his push to pass to see if he can get the fastest race lap. And here's the race lap.
Mazzacani and Rodolfo Levine, who've both been in trouble earlier today, nearly get together. Levine running in 12th, Mazzacani 13th, but they're not on the same lap, so this is not a battle for position truly. Levine 2 laps down from the leaders, Mazzacani 3 laps down. And the last car running on the racetrack at this point. 13 cars remain in action with 2 minutes to go. And Patrick Carpentier on his way to his second consecutive win here at Mazda Raceway, Laguna Seca. Previous consecutive winners here, Bobby Rahal won 4 in a row back in the 80s. Michael Andretti in 91 and 92. Paul Tracy won 2 in a row in 93 and 94. Brian Herta in 1998 and 99. So this would be the 5th time a driver has won back-to-back Champ Car World Series events here at Mazda Raceway, Laguna Seca. Carpentier now reeling in those cars. Mazzacani and Levine running 12th and 13th.
Dominguez just ran a 12.9. On those Bridgestone Reds. Now he's up on that lap traffic that's running, well, almost 5 seconds a lap slower than he is.
Got to believe that Carpentier has picked off the fast lap of the race. We don't have that in front of us on our scoring monitor, but he was so much quicker than everyone else. You have to think that is in his column right now. Dominguez trying to get by. Levine and Mazzacani can't do it. Carpentier's caught him up. Just about, anyway. They'll get the white flag next time by. Less than a minute to go by the clock. Carpentier just putting on a clinic here today. Started on the outside pole alongside Sebastian Bourdais. Bourdais and Tracy, who lined up behind him, got caught up in an early incident. Bourdais been in trouble on pit road 2 separate times. Carpentier settled back into 3rd spot early and then 2nd. When Tracy had problems, he took over, and he has led the rest of the way. White flag in the air. J.D. Wilbur showing the field 1 to go. And Carpentier will listen and see.
You got a huge lead, okay? Nice and conservative. Is that the last lap, or we still got 2? Last lap.
The reason he's asking is Pat knows this is supposed to be an 80-lap race. He's wondering why they gave him the white flag on lap 78. I'm wondering the same thing myself. Oh, never
out of time.
Out of time. Silly me.
As Carpentier makes it up the hill, headed toward the corkscrew one final time here today at Mazda Raceway, Laguna Seca. And he has backed down a 1:14.5 last time around. So it'll be the 3rd win of the season for the Indec Forsyth Racing squad. Somebody put a tire off. Mazzacani big off through the dirt. Nearly caught the leader. What a way to have your day end on the final trip around with a huge lead. Just avoids Mazzacani. Carpentier off turn 11. Headed toward the checkered flag.
Checkered flag, baby. Way to do it.
Carpentier wins the Champ Car World Series event for the 5th consecutive season, 2nd straight year at Mazda Raceway, Laguna Seca. And for Dale Coyne's team, Oriol Servia heads home in 3rd spot, and it'll be the first time in 8 seasons that a Dale Coyne car has made the podium. Roberto Moreno turned the trick at Michigan in 1996. So for Dale Coyne and his bunch, a terrific day here at Mazda Raceway, Laguna Seca.
Big O stands for overachiever. I'll tell you what, that's a great result for them.
Carpentier defeats Junqueira, Servia 3rd, Jourdain and Hunter-Reay the top 5. Points leader Bourdais loses a spot. He is 8th at the finish. We'll be back. Patrick Carpentier, a dominant win today here at Laguna Seca for the 2nd straight year at Victory Lane, Jan Beaches.
The congratulations of the fans and from the crew, and it was really the crew. Patrick, it seemed like that first pit stop, being able to go 1 lap later, that made the difference.
Yeah, we're behind Paul. I couldn't pass. I tried to pass a couple of times, and we couldn't do it, so we decided to, the guys were giving me what to do and trying to save some fuel, and went 1 lap later, and that's all it took, so that was great.
Congratulations, 2 years in a row.
Hey, thanks to the guys. I had a great car, and the pit stop were really fast, so it works out well.
Derek?
Well, Bruno Junqueira here gets a welcome drink. Bruno, you mightn't have had the speed, but I'm sure for the championship's sake, you're pretty secure in 2nd place there.
I mean, it was a very good race for the whole Pacific Yamaha team. We struggled throughout the weekend. Very strange because we were so good here last year. I didn't have the speed, but I still finished 2nd, and it was a great race. Came from 8th. Very hard race, but really good on the championship.
Thank you, Bruno. Here's a great celebration here. Oriol Servia for Dale Coyne Racing and YokeTV.com. What a day for you.
It was really a fantastic day. We started 12, and from there we just, good start. There were 3 guys that went off, but then we passed a lot of people. Car was just fantastic. David Watson gave me the best car I had. It was easy to drive. It was fantastic. We had still some fuel cut issues since lap 10, like on the top of the hill there and just before the corkscrew. I was thinking, no, please hold there, and it stayed there. The old time was great, and I'm very happy for the team, for everybody. We worked really hard all year, and it's just we're getting the fruits.
Go enjoy the champagne. Oriol Servia finishes on the podium.
Great run for Servia. Let's show you the final order of finish here in the Bridgestone Grand Prix of Monterey. Carpenter's first win of the season. Junqueira's 5th runner-up of the year. Servia 3rd, then Jourdain and Hunter-Reay. Tagliani 6th ahead of Haberfeld. Bourdais 8th. Justin Wilson at the back of the field. Tracy gets 10th. Dominguez, Rodolfo Levine, Mazzacani in 13th. Gonzalez, Allmendinger 15th. Tough day.
Well, that was a wacky day. A little bit of everything for everyone. Even Servia didn't avoid all the trouble. Got banged off by Allmendinger, but got a nice podium out of it.
Nelson Felipe had problems this weekend, but he will be back in a couple of weeks, as will we at Las Vegas Motor Speedway for the Bridgestone Las Vegas 400. Hope you've enjoyed our coverage today. A dominant run for Patrick Carpentier. That wraps up our coverage of the Bridgestone World Series, Bridgestone Grand Prix of Monterey from Laguna Seca. Join us on Sunday, September 26th. Champ Car World Series visits Las Vegas Motor Speedway. For Derek Daly and Jan Mikas, Tommy Kendall, Ibert Benjamin congratulating our winner, Patrick Carpentier. Thanks for watching, and so long from Monterey, California.